if you're alive today, over the age of 30, your brain better be one of your biggest concerns. It is mine, honestly. And I don't have those symptoms anymore. But when I was sick, I had brain fog, and I felt like I couldn't think my way through the most basic things of my day. That's the truth. Where was that headed? But I can say this right now, that when you look at statistics on dementia and Alzheimer's, it's really scary. You're talking about 1 in 3 people they're predicting, in the next 10 to 20 years. That's scary. And I'll tell you, it starts with just the simple brain fog, can't remember your keys. Look, I've helped so many people with these conditions, and that's always where it starts. And then it just kind of escalates from there. The scary part is that once you get to a certain place, it's very hard to bring back. The exciting part is that we can do something about it when you first start getting those symptoms. So I hope that wakes you up to why this video is so important. And here it is. Look, people ask me, what is the #1 thing that I can do, Dr. Papa? And I don't know if they like the real answer, but it's a real answer. I believe that we are genetically designed to go through times of famine and fasting. What we know scientifically is that when we go through those times of famine or fasting, certain genes get turned off, meaning bad genes that get triggered via stressors, whether it's physical stress, chemical stress, emotional stress, that triggers genes. That's why you have heard people say, well, it all happened after my pregnancy. That's a stress, often chemically and physically and emotionally, right? So it is that perfect storm of stressors that can turn on any gene, including these brain genes, if you will. But the bottom line is this: we are genetically designed to go through times of famine. Who does that? Even the poor of us, at least in this country, have food all the time. So the point is that without going through these times, we're not turning off some of these genes that do in fact get turned on. And one of them could be the dementia gene. But I'll say this: what happens also in times of fasting, not only do bad genes get turned off, but we have a recycling of our microbiome, which we know now certain bacteria are actually how we make certain chemicals like serotonin in our brain, dopamine. I mean, all these chemicals that our brain needs to think clear, work properly. And without these bacteria, we don't make those brain chemicals, if you will, to keep it simple. So we know this: in times of fasting, we reset our microbiome. But something else extraordinary happens, and science is all over this right now. And you've heard me, if you've watched my videos, talk about autophagy. Well, I could tell you this very simply: the body gets rid of bad cells, bad brain cells, during times of famine and fasting. Literally, it will eat those cells for nutrition and energy. It'll leave the good ones alone. But here's the best part, is when it gets rid of the bad cells that are leading to some of these diseases, it stimulates a stem cell and recreates a new one. So we can literally recreate our brain by times of famine or times of fasting. Now, you've heard me say this: I also believe in times of feasting. So have a wonderful Thanksgiving or whatever holiday's coming up. See, I'm not taking your joys away by any means. I grew up in an Italian family and food is very important, but we are missing the times of famine. And if you just add in even one fast a year of 5 days, look, it doesn't have to be pure water. You can do what is called a partial fast, which on this channel you get plenty of videos on. But during these times of famine and fasting, the body does in fact renew. And I think that when we look at the explosion of brain conditions, yes, chemicals are playing a role in that. But again, I go back to the question that I get most often: what can I do? Of course, cellular detox. And again, most detox is done incorrectly. They don't get up to the cell where it really matters, but they don't get into the brain. And the brain phase is the key to getting toxins out of the brain. But when you put in 1 or 2 fasts a year, longer fasts, where the body has time to eat out those bad cells, this is how you can renew your brain. This is true science around turning off genes like Alzheimer's, dementia genes. This is true science around getting rid of what is called senescent cells, cells that live too long and create problems, including the first signs where we start losing our keys, the first signs of brain fog. But that is the #1 thing you can do. Oh, how much does that cost? Nothing. The art of fasting. Look, My book, Beyond Fasting, I take you through all of my variation fasting strategies, feast famine cycles that we need as humans to beat the odds. And I'll tell you, this is a big one. As I watched my mom go through post-stroke dementia, and I have to say, it was very difficult for me in those times to see her. And I have guilt around that. But I know this, it's given me a passion for bringing this message, because if I would have known then what I know now, I think I could have helped my mom. But there is a time, a slippery slope, that it gets too far gone. And I tell myself that too. Even if I would have known by the time that she really was slipping, it would have been very difficult. But my point is that there's things we can do, and there's things you can do right now, and that's master the art of fasting. So get my book, Beyond Fasting, but keep following this channel, because I'm going to continue to inspire you to add something that is really set in our blueprint that we need to prevent disease, especially this one. As you can tell, I'm very passionate and emotional about. So I'll see you on the next video. My goal is always the same, to bring you what's real and actually works. This is one of them.